Welcome everyone. This is Steve Sigmiller giving you this weekly store training on solution-based selling. So this is an awesome training. Really excited. This is going to really help your teams become better salespeople. So let's get started. So here's the agenda. Pretty standard. Housekeeping, 5 minutes. Review last week's weekly store training, maybe 2 weeks ago. You really want to review the discovery phase, the 4 questions that we talked about, and see how everybody's doing on that. You want to move through this quickly because in this training you're going to spend 15 minutes, maybe 20, on presenting this, and then we're going to be practicing for another 15 or 20 minutes. So that's 40 minutes worth of stuff. So this really needs to be cut down to 5 minutes. Housekeeping, whatever you wanted there. TMP open enrollment, I'll have some more details out by tomorrow morning, but there is something around open enrollment for TMP, so I'll figure out how that is, how that applies to us. Okay, so solution-based selling. There are 2 main approaches to sales. There's retail and then there's solution-based selling. So retail is when we tell a customer about a product and then we ask them to buy it. Right? The example of this is when you go to McDonald's and right when you walk up, they ask you if you want to try their new McChicken, and we usually say no, right? Or when you are in Radio Shack and they always ask you how your batteries are doing and if you want to buy any more. 9 times out of 10, we say no because we're in there for a purpose and we buy that and we don't want to buy anything else. This approach works very well when stuff is free. When there's a new promotion on, but it doesn't always work with everything else that we're doing. So there's solution-based selling. This is when we find a problem that our customer has, and then we present a product as a solution to that problem. So this is what you call consultative, side-by-side selling. This is something we've been focusing on a lot, but this training should really give some teeth and some depth to what that means. So here are the benefits of solution-based selling. You'll actually sell more. Discounting isn't required. You don't need a discount with this if it's done correctly. Our customers will be happier with their purchases. They'll understand it better. So we'll have lower returns and exchanges, and it'll actually lower chargebacks as well. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so where does the solution stuff work? Where do we apply it into the sales, earn the right? Well, it's in the discovery. So again, we remember a couple of weeks ago, we had the 4 main questions, right? How many lines do you have on your account? What other wireless devices do you have? Who's your home internet provider? And are you a homeowner? What the solution-based selling does is it's the follow-up questions within those, how we ask those questions and what we're looking for. So those follow-up questions, again, we're looking for a problem that we can solve. A couple things to remember with that. Customers don't always know the problems they have. So if they don't know what problem they have, if we're presenting a solution that they don't know the problem of, it doesn't really work, right? So a lot of these questions are very simple and almost obvious as we walk our customers through step by step. We also need to ask the questions in a way where the customer doesn't feel like they're being sold. Again, this is to solve a problem. So when they're asked in the correct way, we discover a problem. We present our product as the solution to that problem. Now it makes sense for the customer. Again, if we're just asking customers questions and we find a problem and we instantly throw the solution at them, that they feel sold. So we've got to be careful on how we're approaching this. Okay, so here is an example. So this has sales rep and customer. So you can present this to your team however you want. I would recommend that you have this whole thing printed out for every one of your reps. So they can be going through these slides one by one individually, and you can have, you be the sales rep and somebody else be the customer. I don't care, however you feel is best. But we'll go through this really quick. Okay, so this is an example on trying to pitch a tablet. Okay, so the sales rep says, what other wireless devices do you have? Customer says, I have an iPad. Rep says, cool, how long have you had it? Customer says, 2 years. Rep says, okay, well, which version is it and how do you like it? The customer says, it's an iPad 2, I like it, but it's low on memory and it has a crack on the screen. Okay, so timeout. What do we know about this customer? We know they have an iPad 2, and we know it needs more memory, or they need one that has more memory and has a crack on the screen. So 9 times out of 10, this is when we would pitch a new tablet, right? A new iPad. We can't yet. Why? Well, we found a need that they need a new iPad, but we have this thing that costs them $10 a month for a mobile data connection. So we still got to find a problem that we can solve within that. So we still need to ask some more questions to identify a problem that we can solve to give them mobile internet on their tablet or their iPad. Okay, so let's continue. So the next question we ask is the sales rep. What do you use your iPad for? Is it personal or business? Customer says personal. Sales rep says, okay, and you connect it to the internet through Wi-Fi at home, correct? Customer says yes. Sales rep says, okay, do you take your iPad with you when you're on the go? The customer says, not really. I don't like using unsecured Wi-Fi. Okay, so now what do we know? We know the same stuff as before, but we also know that the customer uses it for personal use and they don't like using unsecured Wi-Fi. Now we have something to pitch to our customer, right? We have a solution. We've got an iPad that has more memory, a better screen, and has access to a secure network anywhere the customer goes. That is a solution. Okay, so let's take the slide back and let's look how we ask these questions. The first question is a setup question, right? Do you use it for personal or business? The next question is another setup question. It's a really obvious one, right? How do you connect your iPad to internet at home through Wi-Fi, right? That seems really obvious, right? Well, no duh, that's the only way you can connect it at home. Well, the reason why we say that one is because it sets us up perfectly for this question. Do you take your iPad with you when you're on the go? Now, based on how the customer responds, in this example, the customer gives us the problem instantly. That won't always happen, right? The customer may just say, no, I don't, I only use it at home. So we need another follow-up question, right? We can say, okay, well, how come? Wouldn't it be beneficial if you took it with you on the go? Or what would make it more beneficial for you in order to use it outside of your home? You know, we'd have some more follow-up questions to really find that problem. So you may not have the exact questions every time because your questions are based off of your customer's previous response, but you have to be prepared for those. Okay. So now we got to think, okay, well, that sounds really, really great, but I need to work on how do I ask those questions? What questions do I ask to set that up? That's what we're going to work on in our activity. So this is how you develop those questions. You actually work backwards. You look at a product that we sell, take for instance a tablet, and you say, okay, well, what are the benefits of our tablet? Or what are the solutions that our tablet provides? And then you say, okay, well, let's look at the problem. What problems does our tablet solve? And then you list down all the problems. And then you say, okay, well, what are the discovery questions that I can ask that set me up for a problem that then set me up for a solution around a product? So you work backwards through that. Another way you can look at it is this way. Here's our product again. Here's a tablet. Here's 3 of the solutions that a tablet may have. So you could say a tablet solution is mobile productivity. Solution is it's a secure network. Solution is a bigger screen than a smartphone. Then you can list the problems that solves, and then you can write out your list of questions. So that's really how you spiderweb this and start from the end to the beginning to develop those questions. Okay, so after you explain that to your team, now's the activity. You're going to break off into pairs, and each pair is going to work on a product and do that whole thing. They're going to work backwards from the product to the discovery questions and develop all those questions. You can do it around whatever topics you want. You know, your big topics are going to be tablets, edge, mobile broadband, switching somebody from AT&T to Verizon. I would give people enough time to work through multiple products, 3 or 4 products, but I would then at the end have each group present on what they came up with one of these topics: tablet, edge, mobile broadband, switch to AT&T, home phone connect, whatever. You as the manager, I would say that you aren't in a pair, I would say you're going around and making sure that people get this and that you're helping them through this process, helping them develop the questions. If there's only 3 or 4 of you, maybe you can do it as a team. Whatever you feel is going to be most beneficial for this activity. Okay, so the next thing you want to talk about is grow the pain. Now, before we get into this, if your team isn't if they're not getting this, don't go over grow the pain. It makes the process a little bit more complicated. It's adding another layer to it. So if they're not grasping everything yet, and you need to work on that over the week, I would say wait on this and integrate this into your spot on trainings and your one-on-one coaching. But this is what it is. So when you're in the discovery phase and you're asking those discovery questions and you find a problem, you need to grow the pain of that problem. So the more emotion the customer feels around the problem, the better the solution is going to be, and the more they're going to want to take care of the problem here, now, today. So an example of that, I had a customer at a store that had this problem. They had AT&T. They were coming in to look at Verizon. And so I asked them, well, what do you like about AT&T? What don't you like? And what do you know about Verizon? And they said, well, at their cabin, they don't get AT&T signal, but some of their friends that have Verizon do get signal there. Okay, so this is a perfect point. We found a problem, now we can grow the pain. So we talk about it for a while. Okay, how often are you at your cabin? We use words like frustrating. Oh, that must be frustrating. You mean you're telling me that when you're at your cabin, you can't make phone calls? That must be frustrating. I can only imagine. Blah, 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 blah. Right? We grow the pain of that problem. Another real easy example on this is when a customer comes in to do an upgrade on their phone. You say, okay, well, how do you like, what's going on with your old phone? And they say, the battery sucks on it. You say, oh, well, what's going on with the battery? How long does it last? Right? And it creates all those emotions of how frustrating their current phone is. It makes them want to buy the new phone even more so today. It makes the solution even better. Okay, so that's what grow the pain is. Okay, so here's your wrap up. The better we can get at solution-based selling, our sales will increase, the quality of our sales will increase, our customers will be happier with their purchase, our chargebacks will decrease, and there's less discounting required. Okay, so what's the next step? For you as a manager, the next step is to get everybody to improve on the discovery phase and solution-based selling. It's mastering finding problems and giving solutions. And really how to do that is going to be the follow-up in your weekly coaching and your spot-on trainings. We need to move the needle on getting our teams better at sales skills. And this is the biggest skill that will make the difference. They're not going to be able to change to this overnight. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some dedication, some effort from you to make sure that you're training and helping them along with this. So that's the next step for you. That's the weekly store training. Good luck with all of it, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks.